Admiral Park Tejo sat in his dark office. The lights of Space Station Nexus Prime glowed outside his window. On his desk were 47 red files. Each file told a story of death and pain. He opened the first file. Exercise Thunderstrike. Date: January 15th, 2385. 12 cadets went into the combat simulation. Only 4 came out alive. The others were hurt so badly they could never fight again. Some went crazy. One cadet named Yun Kong Min killed himself 2 weeks later. Tejo read the survivor list. 4 names. The last name made him stop. Lee Hee-jin, human female, age 17 at the time. He opened the second file. Exercise Deep Black, March 3rd, 2385. This time it was a space battle simulation. 8 cadets entered. 3 survived. Again there was her name. Lee Hee-jin. File after file, the same story. Different exercises. Different dates. Different alien species getting hurt or killed. But always one name appeared in every survivor list. Lee Hee-jin. Tejo called his assistant. "Send me everything we have on Cadet Lee Hee-jin now." While he waited, he kept reading. Exercise Hellgate. Exercise Blood Moon. Exercise Last Stand. The names of the training programs got scarier. The casualty lists got longer. But Hee-jin's name never left the survivor column. His door chimed. Dr. Kim So-ra walked in. She was the Academy's head doctor. She looked tired. "You called for me, Admiral?" she asked. "Sit down, doctor. Tell me about Lee Hee-jin." So-ra's face changed. She looked worried. "What do you want to know?" "Everything. Start with her medical records." So-ra pulled out her tablet. "She's 19 now, human. Born on Colony World Shin-Sol. Lost her parents when she was 12. Pirates attacked their settlement. She was the only survivor." "Only survivor," Tejo repeated. "Seems to be a pattern." "What do you mean?" Tejo turned his screen around. The list of red files filled the display. 47 training exercises. The worst ones we've had in 3 years. Exercises where cadets died or went insane or got hurt so bad they had to quit. So-ra stared at the screen. "That's impossible." "Look at the survivor lists." So-ra scrolled through the files. Her face got paler with each one. "Hee-jin was in all of these?" "Every single one. And not just in them. She survived them all. Without a scratch. That can't be right. No one has that kind of luck." Tejo leaned back in his chair. "That's what I thought. But the computer doesn't lie. She's been in our worst training disasters for 3 years. Other cadets get killed. Others go crazy. Others quit and never come back. But Hee-jin, she walks away every time." So-ra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I've treated her a few times. Minor things, bruises, small cuts, but never anything serious." "What's she like?" "As a person? Quiet, polite. She doesn't talk much about her past. Other cadets like her well enough. She helps them with their studies sometimes." "Any signs of trauma?" "Nightmares. Stress reactions." So-ra shook her head. "That's what's strange. She should be a wreck. Anyone who's been through what she has should show signs of mental damage. But her psychological evaluations are normal. Too normal." "What does that mean?" "It means she either has the strongest mind I've ever seen or she's hiding something very well." The door chimed again. A young man in cadet uniform walked in. He was tall and thin with worried eyes. "Admiral Park, I'm Cadet Choi Min-ho. You wanted to see me?" "Yes, you're Lee Hee-jin's roommate, correct?" "Yes, sir. Sit down." "Tell me about her." Min-ho sat down nervously. "Is Hee-jin in trouble, sir?" "Just answer the question." Min-ho thought for a moment. "She's different, but in a good way. She's always calm. Even when everyone else is panicking, she stays cool. She's good at everything. Combat training, tactics, weapons, survival skills. The instructors love her." "Does she talk about the training exercises?" "Not much. When the other cadets complain about how hard or scary they were, she just listens. She doesn't add anything." "Has she ever seemed upset?" "Scared?" Min-ho shook his head. "Never. Even after the worst exercises, she comes back to the room and acts like nothing happened. She'll ask me how my day went. Help me with homework. Make tea." "Tea?" "Yeah, she has this special tea from her home world. She says it helps her think." Tejo and So-ra looked at each other. "One more question," Tejo said. "Have you noticed anything unusual about her?" Min-ho was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "Sometimes I think she knows things before they happen." What kind of things? Small things. Like she'll tell me to take an umbrella and then it rains. Or she'll suggest I study a certain chapter, and that's what's on the test. Or she'll change our usual route to the dining hall, and later we find out there was an accident on our normal path. How often does this happen? A lot, maybe every week. My friends joke that I have the luckiest roommate in the academy. After Minho left, Taeho and Sora sat in silence. "What are you thinking?" Sora asked. "I'm thinking we need to watch her next training exercise very carefully." "Which exercise is she assigned to next?" Taeho checked his computer. His face went pale. "The Crucible." "The Crucible?" "But that's the most dangerous simulation we have, designed by the Vorthak Empire to break human spirits. No one has ever completed it successfully. You have to pull her out. I can't. She's already been assigned. If I change it now, it will look suspicious. Besides..." He paused. "Besides what?" "If my suspicions are right, this might be our only chance to see what she really is." Sora stood up. "I'll prepare a full medical team, and I want every sensor in that simulation room recording everything." "Agreed. We need to know how Lee Hee-jin keeps surviving the impossible." After Sora left, Taeho looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien species were watching humanity, judging them, testing them, and maybe, just maybe, one human girl was the key to passing those tests. But at what cost? He opened Hee-jin's file one more time. The photo showed a young woman with dark hair and calm eyes. She looked normal, completely normal. That scared him more than anything. The simulation room was huge. It could create any world, any battle, any nightmare. Today it would become the alien city of Kethvar during its darkest hour. 20 cadets stood in the prep area. They came from 6 different species: humans, Vorthans, Thrakari, Selenites, and others. All of them looked nervous. All except one. Lee Hee-jin checked her gear calmly. Her rifle was clean. Her armor fit perfectly. She looked like she was getting ready for a normal day. "Scared?" asked Cadet Ojiwoo. He was Vorthak, tall and blue-skinned. His people had designed this simulation to break human minds. "Should I be?" Hee-jin replied. Jiwoo laughed. "This exercise has never been completed. Not by any species. My people made it to show that humans are weak." "Interesting," Hee-jin said. She didn't sound worried. Commander Yoon Dae-sung entered the prep room. He was the simulation overseer. Behind him walked a real Vorthak military observer named Krixtal. His 4 eyes glowed with interest. "Listen up," Dae-sung announced. "The Crucible will test everything you know. You are soldiers in the city of Kethvar. The city is under attack. Civilians need rescue. Enemy forces outnumber you 50 to 1. The simulation lasts 24 hours, Krixtal added. His voice was like grinding stone. You will face fear, pain, and despair. Most of you will break. This is expected." In the observation room above, Admiral Taeho and Dr. Sora watched through one-way glass. Every sensor was active. Every camera was recording. Beginning simulation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The world changed. The cadets now stood in a burning city. Buildings crumbled around them. The sky was red with smoke. Screams echoed from every direction. Enemy soldiers appeared on the rooftops. They opened fire immediately. Laser bolts lit up the street. "Take cover," shouted Cadet Yoon Dong-ha, a senior human student. Everyone dove for protection. Everyone except Hee-jin. She stood in the middle of the street for 3 seconds longer than the others. She looked around carefully. Then she moved to a specific piece of rubble that seemed no different from any other. 2 seconds later, enemy fire destroyed every other hiding spot on the street. "How did she know?" Sora whispered in the observation room. The first hour was chaos. Enemy forces attacked from all sides. The cadets fought back, but they were losing badly. 3 cadets were already killed, removed from the simulation with severe injuries. Hee-jin moved through the battle like she knew where every enemy would be. She never wasted a shot. She never took unnecessary risks. But somehow she was always in the right place at the right time. "Squad leader down," someone screamed. Cadet Dong-ha had been hit. His leg was broken. He couldn't move. "Leave me," he gasped. "Save yourselves." "No," Hee-jin said simply. She grabbed his arm and started pulling him toward a building. "That building will collapse in the bombardment," Jiwoo warned. "No, it won't," Hee-jin replied. She was right. The building next to it collapsed instead, creating perfect cover for their escape. Hour by hour, cadets fell. The Thrakari warrior Gorth lost his arm to shrapnel. A Selenite cadet named Vix went insane from the constant noise and violence. Others simply gave up and sat down, waiting for the simulation to end. But Hyejin kept going. And somehow the cadets near her survived longer than the others. "Look at the pattern," Dr. Sora said, pointing at the tactical display. "Every cadet who stays close to her lives. Everyone who moves away from her gets hurt or killed." "It could be coincidence," Taeho replied, but he didn't sound convinced. By hour 18, only 3 cadets remained active: Hyejin, Jiwoo, and Gorth. The Thrakari warrior was badly hurt but still fighting with his remaining arm. They were trapped in a hospital, trying to evacuate the last group of civilian holograms. Enemy forces surrounded the building. There was no way out. "This is it," Jiwoo said. "We're finished. My people designed this scenario to be impossible." "Nothing is impossible," Hyejin said. She was studying a map of the hospital. "Even if we could fight our way out, we can't carry all these civilians." Hyejin pointed to a section of the map. "There's a subway tunnel under this building. It connects to the old transport system. That tunnel was destroyed in the bombardment. I saw the reports." "The reports are wrong." Jiwoo stared at her. "How can you be sure?" "I just know." She was right again. The tunnel was intact. Not only that, but an old transport car was still working. It could carry all the civilians to safety. But as they loaded people into the transport, something strange happened. The simulation's computer system started acting odd. Enemies appeared in impossible numbers. Buildings collapsed in patterns that defied physics. The weather changed from rain to snow to burning heat in minutes. "The AI is malfunctioning," Daesung said from the control room. "I've never seen anything like this." "It's not malfunctioning," Krixtel replied. His 4 eyes were all focused on Hyejin. "It's responding to something." In the simulation, Hyejin had gone very still. She was standing in the middle of the chaos, but she seemed calm. Her eyes found one of the hidden cameras. She looked directly into the lens. "I know you're watching," she whispered. The temperature in the observation room seemed to drop 10 degrees. "Did she just—" Taeho began. "The cameras are hidden," Sora said. "There's no way she should know where they are." On screen, Hyejin turned back to her teammates. "We need to move now." "Move where?" Gorth asked. "We're surrounded." "Up. Up where?" "Trust me." She led them to the hospital's roof. Enemy aircraft filled the sky. It looked like suicide. But Hyejin walked to a specific spot on the roof. She knelt down and started pulling at what looked like solid concrete. "What are you doing?" Jiwoo asked. "Emergency supply cache," she replied. "Built during the First War. The city planners hid weapons and equipment in case of siege." Her hands found a hidden panel. It opened to reveal anti-aircraft weapons. "How did you know that was there?" Jiwoo demanded. Hyejin looked at him with those calm, dark eyes. "Lucky guess. With the hidden weapons, they destroyed the enemy aircraft. The transport with civilians reached safety. The impossible mission was suddenly possible. But in the observation room, alarms were going off. "Sir," a technician called out. "The simulation is drawing power at impossible rates. The reactor can't keep up." "Shut it down," Taeho ordered. "I can't. Something is overriding the controls." On screen, the simulated world began to change again. But this time, it wasn't the computer making changes. Reality itself seemed to bend around Hyejin. Enemy bullets curved away from her teammates. Broken bridges rebuilt themselves when she needed to cross them. Lucky coincidences happened every few minutes. And through it all, she remained perfectly calm. "What is she?" Krixtel whispered. The simulation finally ended after 24 hours. All 3 remaining cadets had survived. They had completed the impossible exercise. But as the artificial world faded away, Hyejin turned to the observation window. Even though it was one-way glass, she looked directly at Admiral Taeho. She smiled. And for the first time in 30 years of military service, Park Taeho felt truly afraid. The medical bay was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Cadet Ojiwoo lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His blue skin was pale from shock. Dr. Sora sat beside him. "Tell me what you saw in there." "She knew things," Jiwoo said quietly. "Things no one could know. The tunnel. The weapons cache. Where the enemies would attack next. Maybe she studied the simulation beforehand." Jiwoo shook his head. "Impossible. My people designed that exercise to be random. The computer creates new scenarios every time. No two runs are the same. Sora made notes on her tablet. What else? The way she moved. Like she could see 5 minutes into the future. And the coincidences, he paused. There were too many lucky breaks. Bullets missing by inches. Explosions happening just after we left buildings. It wasn't natural. Meanwhile, Admiral Taeho was in his office with a new visitor. Professor Nam Hyunwoo taught xenobiology at the academy. He was old, with gray hair and tired eyes. You wanted to see me about evolution? Nam asked. Human evolution, specifically. Is it possible for trauma to trigger genetic changes? Nam rubbed his chin. In theory, yes. Extreme stress can activate dormant DNA sequences, but it would take generations to show real effects. What about immediate effects? Changes that happen in one lifetime? You're talking about something like mutation, very rare, usually fatal. Taeho turned his computer screen toward the professor. Look at this. The screen showed Hyejin's brain scans from her medical exams. Colorful patterns swirled across the image. Nam's eyes widened. These readings? This can't be right. What do you see? Activity in brain regions we don't fully understand. Areas linked to pattern recognition, probability calculation, and something else? Something else? I'm not sure. It looks almost like she's processing quantum information. But that's impossible. Human brains can't do that. Taeho leaned forward. What if they could? What if extreme trauma somehow unlocked abilities we didn't know we had? It would change everything we know about human potential. Across the station, Director Lim Soo-jin was having a very different conversation. She stood in a secure communication room speaking to a hologram of General Ko Woo-sung. The Lee girl is becoming a problem, Soo-jin said. How much do they know? The general asked. Too much. Admiral Taeho is investigating. Dr. Sora is asking questions. It's only a matter of time before they discover Project Phoenix. General Ko was quiet for a moment. Phoenix was shut down years ago. The project was shut down. The subjects weren't. How many are still active? We're not sure. Maybe a dozen. Maybe more. They're scattered across human space. And Hyejin? She's the strongest we've ever recorded. Her probability manipulation is off the charts. Probability manipulation? Soo-jin pulled up a data file. She doesn't just survive dangerous situations. She unconsciously changes the odds around her, makes favorable outcomes more likely. At what cost? That's the problem. Energy has to go somewhere. When luck flows toward her, it flows away from everyone else nearby. The general's hologram flickered. You're saying her survival causes other people's deaths? Not directly, but yes. Her presence increases random accidents, equipment failures, bad luck for others. The more danger she's in, the stronger the effect becomes. Back in his office, Admiral Taeho was reading classified files that Director Soo-jin had finally released. His face grew darker with each page. Dr. Sora sat across from him. Project Phoenix? A program that started 15 years ago. They identified children who survived impossible situations, studied them, tested them. That's horrible. It gets worse. They discovered that extreme trauma at a young age could trigger changes in human DNA. Not just mental changes, physical ones. What kind of changes? Taeho showed her a file photo. It was Hyejin at age 12, taken just after the pirate attack on Shin Seoul. Look at her eyes in this picture. Now compare them to recent photos. Sora looked carefully. In the old photo, Hyejin's eyes were brown. In recent pictures, they had flecks of gold. Eye color can change, Sora said, not like this. The gold flecks aren't pigment. They're something else entirely. What? According to these files, they're quantum structures. Microscopic organs that allow her brain to process information in ways we don't understand. Sora felt sick. They experimented on children, and then they lost track of most of them. Hyejin was placed in the academy to be monitored. But the monitoring team was killed in a shuttle accident 3 years ago. An accident? Now I'm wondering if it really was an accident. Her probability field affects everyone around her. They were interrupted by an urgent chime. Captain Bae Young-mi entered the office. She was Special Forces, tough and scarred. Admiral, I need to speak with you immediately. About what? Lee Hyejin. I've been her handler for 3 years. Taeho and Sora stared at her. Handler? Taeho asked. I was assigned to protect her after the monitoring team died. Keep her safe from people who want to use her abilities. What abilities exactly? Young-mi sat down heavily. She can manipulate probability, change the odds, make unlikely things happen. How? We don't know. The original researchers called it quantum consciousness. Her brain can somehow interact with the basic forces of reality. Dr. Sora spoke up. The other cadets who died in training exercises. Was that because of her? Young Mai nodded sadly. The more danger she's in, the more her abilities activate. She pulls luck toward herself. But that luck has to come from somewhere. From other people. Yes. She doesn't know she's doing it. The guilt would destroy her if she understood. Why tell us this now? Taeho asked. Because something's changed. Her abilities are getting stronger. And there are people coming for her. What people? Alien extremists who think humans are becoming too dangerous, and human scientists who want to weaponize what she can do. As if summoned by her words, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Security alert, came the announcement. Unknown ships approaching. All personnel to battle stations. Captain Youngmi grabbed her weapon. They're here. Who's here? Taeho demanded, the ones who want to kill her. Or capture her. I'm not sure which is worse. Through the window, they could see ships dropping out of hyperspace. Some were human design. Others were clearly alien. Where is Heejin now? Sora asked. Youngmi checked her tracker. Dormitory level. She should be safe there. The tracker suddenly went dead. Or maybe not, Youngmi said grimly. Somewhere in the station, Lee Heejin was making tea in her small room. She didn't seem worried about the alarms. Minho burst through the door. Heejin! We need to get to the shelters. She looked up at him with those strange golden-flecked eyes. No, she said calmly. We need to go to the observation deck. That's the most dangerous place on the station. I know. She stood up and walked toward the door. As she passed the window, a stray laser blast from the attacking ships hit the exact spot where she had been sitting seconds before. Minho stared at the smoking hole in the wall. How did you know? He whispered. Heejin looked back at him. For the first time since he'd known her, she looked sad. I always know, she said quietly. That's the problem. Outside, the battle for Nexus Prime was beginning. And at the center of it all was a 19-year-old girl who could change the odds of anything, whether she wanted to or not. The observation deck was the worst place to be during a battle. It had huge windows that faced space. One direct hit would kill everyone inside. But Lee Heejin walked there anyway. Minho followed, too scared to leave her alone. Why are we here? He asked. Hyejin stood at the main window. Outside, ships were fighting. Human vessels battled both alien attackers and other human ships. Because this is where it ends, she said quietly. Where what ends? The lies. The hiding everything. Laser fire lit up space like deadly fireworks. A human cruiser exploded not far from the station. Pieces of metal bounced off the observation deck's shields. We should go to the shelters, Minho said again. The shelters will collapse in 12 minutes. Hyejin replied, how can you possibly know that? She looked at him with those golden-flecked eyes. Because I can see the patterns. I always could. Even as a child, what patterns? The way things connect. How one event leads to another. How probability flows like water. An explosion shook the station. Emergency lights flickered on. When the pirates attacked my home, Hyejin continued, I hid in the basement. I could feel something changing inside me. Like a door opening in my mind. What kind of door? The door that lets me see all the possible futures. And choose which one becomes real. Minho stared at her. That's impossible. Is it? Then explain why I always survive. Why I knew about the tunnel in the simulation. Why I'm never in the wrong place at the wrong time. Another explosion. Closer this time. The pirates never found me in that basement, Hyejin said. But everyone else died. My parents. My neighbors. 47 people. That wasn't your fault. You were just a child. I made myself lucky. And luck has to come from somewhere. The horrible truth hit Minho like a punch. You mean, I pulled their luck away? I didn't mean to. I didn't even know I was doing it. But their bad luck became my good luck. That's not how luck works. It is when you can manipulate quantum probability fields. The door to the observation deck burst open. Admiral Taeho, Dr. Sora, and Captain Youngmi rushed in. They were armed and looked ready for battle. Heejin, Youngmi called. We need to get you to safety. There is no safety, Hyejin replied. Not for me. Not for anyone around me. What are you talking about? Taeho asked. She knows, Youngmi said quietly. About her abilities? About what she does to other people. I figured it out during the Crucible simulation, Heejin said. Every time I saved myself, someone else got hurt. Every lucky break I had came at someone else's expense. Dr. Sora stepped forward. You couldn't have known. You were just trying to survive, or was I? Or was I unconsciously choosing who lived and who died? The lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. The attackers are inside the station, Youngmi reported. Who are they? Taeho asked. 2 groups. Alien extremists who want to kill her, and human scientists who want to capture her. What do they want with me? Hyjin asked. The aliens think you're proof that humans are too dangerous to live alongside other species. They want you dead to prevent more humans from developing your abilities. And the humans? Youngmi's face was grim. They want to study you. Cut you open. Figure out how to make more people like you. More weapons, you mean? Yes. The door exploded inward. Armed figures in spacesuits poured into the room. Some carried human weapons. Others had alien technology. Nobody move, shouted a voice with an alien accent. The leader stepped forward. It was Krixtal, the Vorthak observer from the simulation. The probability which comes with us, he announced. Like hell she does, Youngmi said, raising her rifle. You are outnumbered, Krixtal replied. Surrender the girl and the rest of you may live. Counteroffer, said a new voice. Everyone turned. General Ko Wu-sung stepped out of the shadows behind them. He had more soldiers with him. The girl comes with us, the general said. She's human property. Property? Hyjin spoke up. Her voice was cold. A valuable asset that needs proper study, Ko replied. You could help us create an army of soldiers with your abilities. An army of people who kill their friends just by being near them? Acceptable losses for the greater good of humanity, Krixtal laughed harshly. You see? This is why your species must be contained. You turn everything into a weapon, says the species that creates torture simulations, Taeho shot back. Our simulations test character. Your weapons destroy it. The 2 groups of soldiers faced each other across the observation deck. In the middle stood Hyejin, looking small and alone. I won't be anyone's weapon, she said quietly. You don't have a choice, General Ko replied. You're too dangerous to run free. And too dangerous to live, Krixtal added. Hyejin looked around the room. At Minho, scared but staying loyal. At Dr. Sora, who had tried to help her. At Admiral Taeho, who wanted to do the right thing. At Youngmi, who had protected her for years. You're all here because of me, she said. In danger because of what I am. That's not your fault, Minho said, isn't it? I could have left the academy years ago. Gone somewhere remote. Lived alone where I couldn't hurt anyone. That's not living, Dr. Sora said. That's just existing. Maybe existing is better than killing people by accident. Outside, the space battle was getting worse. A massive explosion lit up the windows. One of the human ships was breaking apart. The quantum field around you is getting stronger, Youngmi observed. The more stress you're under, the more it affects reality. She was right. Small objects in the room were starting to move on their own. The lights flickered in patterns. Even the artificial gravity seemed unstable. You see? Krixtal pointed his weapon at her. She's losing control. She could destroy the entire station. All the more reason to study her properly, General Ko argued. I have a better idea, Hyejin said. She walked to the center of the room. The golden flecks in her eyes were glowing now. I'm tired of being afraid. Tired of hiding. Tired of pretending I don't know what I am. What are you? Taeho asked. I'm the next step in human evolution, and maybe an alien evolution too. She looked at Krixtal. You want to know if humans are dangerous? We are. But not in the way you think. Then she looked at General Ko. You want to turn me into a weapon? I already am one. But I choose my own targets. The quantum field around her expanded suddenly. Both groups of soldiers staggered as reality twisted around them. I'm done being controlled by fear, Hyejin announced. Mine or yours. The lights went completely out. When they came back on a second later, everything had changed. All the weapons in the room had jammed at the same time. The doors had locked automatically, and outside the window the space battle had suddenly stopped. Every ship, human and alien alike, was floating dead in space. What did you do? General Ko whispered. Hyejin smiled. It was not a nice smile, I evened the odds. The silence in space was deafening. Every ship hung motionless like dead metal. Inside the observation deck, nobody moved. How? General Ko whispered. Quantum probability collapse. Hyejin replied calmly. I made the chance of any weapon working equal to 0. Krixtal tried to fire his rifle again. Nothing happened. Impossible. Everything is possible. Some things are just less likely than others. Chancellor Shin Yaren's voice came over the station intercom. This is the Chancellor. All hostilities will cease immediately. We are calling an emergency assembly. 1 hour later, the main assembly hall was packed. Representatives from 6 different species sat at a huge round table. Humans, Vorthax, Thrakari, Selenites, and others, all looking worried. Hyjin sat in the center. She looked very young, surrounded by all the important people. Let's be clear about what happened, Chancellor Yeren began. One person stopped an entire space battle with her mind. She's not just one person, said Ambassador Quindar, a tall alien with silver skin. She's proof that humans are evolving into something dangerous. Dangerous to who? Asked Admiral Tejo. To everyone. If humans can manipulate reality itself, how can other species compete? General Ko leaned forward. Which is exactly why we need to study this ability. Learn to control it. Control it or use it as a weapon? Dr. Sora asked, what's the difference? Master Sergeant Jang Kite stood up. He was old, with gray hair and scars from many battles. I've fought alongside humans for 40 years. I know what makes them dangerous. And what's that? Chancellor Yeren asked. It's not their strength. It's not their technology. It's the fact that they never give up. Even when they should, he looked at Hyjin. This girl survived a pirate attack at age 12. She survived 47 training disasters. She just stopped a war with her thoughts. You want to know why? Because giving up isn't in human nature. That's exactly why they're dangerous, Ambassador Quindar said. No, Kite replied. That's why they're valuable. Explain. Because when the real threat comes, and it will come, you'll want humans on your side. Not as enemies. What real threat? Crixtel asked. Kite smiled grimly. You think we're the only ones out here? You think this galaxy is empty beyond our small corner? The room went quiet. There are things in the dark between stars, Kite continued. Old things. Hungry things. And when they come, you'll need every advantage you can get. Chancellor Yeren turned to Hyjin. What do you want? You could demand anything right now. Hyjin stood up slowly. I want to stop hurting people. What do you mean? Every time I use my abilities, someone pays the price. When I survive, others die. When I get lucky, others get unlucky. I'm tired of it, Dr. Sora spoke up. What if there was another way? What other way? What if instead of pulling luck away from people, you could give it to them? I don't understand. Your abilities work by manipulating probability. Right now, you unconsciously pull good probability toward yourself. But what if you could do the opposite? What if you could push good probability toward others? Professor Nam Hyunwoo nodded excitedly. It's theoretically possible. Instead of being a probability sink, you could be a probability source. How? Training. Practice, learning to control what you do instead of just reacting. General Ko shook his head. Too risky. We need to study her first. Study me like a laboratory animal? Hyjin asked. If necessary. No. The word hung in the air like thunder. No, General Ko repeated. I won't be anyone's weapon. I won't be anyone's test subject. I choose what happens to me. You're too dangerous to make that choice. Hyjin looked around the room, at all the powerful people trying to decide her fate. You're right, she said quietly. I am dangerous. The lights dimmed. The golden flecks in her eyes grew brighter. But not in the way you think. She closed her eyes and concentrated. The quantum field around her expanded, touching everyone in the room. One by one, amazing things started happening. Ambassador Quindar's communication device, broken for weeks, suddenly started working again. A message appeared from his family, telling him they were safe after a disaster on his homeworld. Crixtal received word that his brother, missing in action for months, had been found alive. General Ko's aide whispered that the military tribunal investigating his past actions had been dismissed. All charges dropped. Even small things changed. Chancellor Yeren found the lucky coin she had lost years ago in her pocket. Dr. Sora's chronic back pain disappeared. Professor Nam discovered that his research funding, denied for years, had been approved. What are you doing? Tejo asked. Showing you what I could be instead of what I am, Hyjin replied. The good luck kept spreading, not just to people in the room but throughout the station. Broken equipment started working. Lost items were found. Sick people felt better. Even the food in the cafeteria tasted better. This is impossible, General Ko muttered. Everything is impossible until someone does it. Hee-jin said. She opened her eyes and looked at each person in turn. I have a proposal. What kind of proposal? Chancellor Yerin asked. Let me stay at the academy, not as a weapon, not as a test subject, as a teacher. Teaching what? How to survive the impossible. How to find hope when everything seems hopeless. How to turn bad luck into good luck. And if we refuse? General Code demanded. Hee-jin smiled sadly. Then you'll miss the chance to learn the most important thing humans can teach. Which is, that evolution isn't about becoming more than human. It's about becoming the best version of human. 6 months later, Cadet Minho walked into the Academy's new Probability Training Center. Hye-jin stood at the front of a classroom full of cadets from 6 different species. Today we're going to learn about luck, she announced. Not the kind you're born with, the kind you make. A Thrakari student raised his hand. How do you make luck? By understanding that luck isn't random. It's about seeing patterns, making connections, being in the right place at the right time. But how do you know where the right place is? Hee-jin's eyes twinkled. The golden flecks caught the light. Practice. Lots and lots of practice. And remember, true strength isn't about ensuring your own survival. It's about making sure everyone comes home. She looked out the window at the stars. Because out there in the dark, we're all going to need each other. Minho smiled. His roommate had found her purpose at last. Not as a weapon, not as a victim, but as a teacher who could show others that even in an impossible universe, hope was always possible. And sometimes, that was the most human thing of all. The end.